Chandu, the magician. Next Monday at this same time, the makers of White King will continue the thrilling story of Chandu, the magician. And tomorrow, Saturday, when you do your weekend shopping, be sure at the head of the list you write the words White King. You'll like White King for washing clothes and for washing dishes, too. There is something about a dishpan full of nice, warm soap suds that makes a woman feel that her dishes will come out really clean. Every tiny granule dissolves completely in your dishwater, whips up to billowy clouds of suds. And White King suds rinse away quickly and completely, too, when you douse your dishes with hot water. Leaves china, glassware, and silver so extra bright they dry in a jiffy. White King soap is extra kind to hands, too. It is so easy on lovely hands that thousands and thousands of ladies who use it say, I love White King. Yes, indeed, for washing clothes or dishes, you'll love White King. In Cairo, Frank Chandler, known in the East as Chandu the Magician, has received word that Roxor has secretly returned with Robert Regent to the island of Malta. But when Bob and Betty insist that the venomous dwarf Arenye, an agent of Roxor, is hiding somewhere in the house, Dorothy Regent is convinced that she may again fall into Roxor's hands, and that for her husband's sake, she must return to America. But searching the ancient rooms, Chandler discovers that the dwarf has been admitted to an underground room by someone living in the house. He believes that Arenye intends only to steal the jewels left to Betty by Abdallah the Bedouin. Chandler, with Bob, sets a trap for Arenye in Betty's room. As they watch, Arenye climbs a tree outside the windows. But just as he is about to enter, there is a struggle, a blow, and Arenye plummets to the ground. A few moments later, Chandler and Bob are standing beside the unconscious dwarf in the moonlit garden. Chandu, the magician.
Brother, is he smashed up? He sure won't be much use to Roxor now.
And when Roxor finds out Arenye was a jewel thief on the side...
Yeah, I'd hate to be in his shoes. You know what? I bet it wasn't one of the servants that was in with him. I'll bet it was somebody from the street of thieves.
No, it has to be someone living in Nadji's house.
Why?
Nobody else could possibly know about that hidden door. And that's not the worst of it either.
What do you mean?
If he knows that, he may have heard a lot of other things about my work, or he may even know I'm going back to Malta.
Gosh, yes.
Well, I'll find out about it when I get back here.
Well, you're not taking off from Malta tonight, are you?
No, I'm going to get Batouche. He and his son can take care of Arenye over to Benales. Oh, poor devil. Seeing him like this, you forget how utterly evil he is.
Yeah. Yeah, and the first chance he gets, he'll be back at it again.
It'll be a long time. Well, Bob, you go on upstairs and go to bed.
Well, don't you think I ought to stay here and keep an eye on him?
What for? He certainly can't walk.
Well, I guess not.
And the fellow who knocked him out of the tree won't be coming back to give him a hand. Go on, Bob. We're wasting time.
You must not be fearful, Dorothy.
That's what Frank's always saying. But, Nadji, how... Oh, let's not talk about it anymore tonight. Is there anything I can get you before I go to bed?
There is nothing, thank you. Dorothy, you do not think I have hidden from you something I know of your husband?
Well, yes. Oh, Nadji, if you do, don't keep it from me.
If I have not spoken, it is because it is not yet clear to me.
What isn't clear?
I know only that the face of death was in the crystal.
What?
But the name of him who is to die was hidden.
Well, when did you see it?
It was the night you went to the Cafe of the Desert Moon and learned your husband had been brought to Cairo.
Oh, yes, I know.
Then when I saw Sonia Radislav with the gun, I thought it was meant that I should die in Chandu's place.
In Frank's place? But, Nadji, you're not going to...
Dorothy, you know I am not to die from this wound.
So you think it's Robert?
I do not know. Where is Chandu now?
He's downstairs. Nadji, listen. What's that?
It is a message for me. See it? The blue flame.
Oh, I remember. We saw it the first day you came here when you'd gone to look for Roxor. A circle of blue fire floating down.
It may hold a meaning for you, too. Sit here beside me.
Oh, it's so strange. Poised there between your hands. A flame as cold as ice.
Look into the heart of the flame.
Nadji, do these things come to you from the yogi as Frank's messages do?
They come from a very far place, Dorothy. Look.
Oh, there's a picture. A river. It doesn't look like the Nile.
I have not seen this before. And still, I know. It is the river of life.
The river... What does that mean?
Watch. You will see what I see. The trees on the river bank bending in the wind.
Oh, it's icy. Nadji, don't look at it.
I must.
There's a feeling of, I don't know, foreboding about it.
I know, but I must look. A sailboat.
But no one's sailing it. The two hooded figures are standing on the deck as if... Oh, why, look, Nadji. One of them's pushed the other over into the water.
Yes, Dorothy.
Do you suppose this is actually happening somewhere now?
No. It is a message for me. There, you see?
Clouds.
And now the boat is empty, rocking on the surface of the blue river.
Oh, but why don't you hear a voice or something to tell you what it all means? The boat's sinking. It's gone.
Gone. As if it had never been. I knew it must be so.
Why, the flame's gone, too. Well, what was all that?
You were meant to see it, Dorothy. If Chandu questions you, you will tell him that you have seen.
But neither of these people was Frank.
They were not people, but symbols. Dorothy, you know Chandu wishes to marry me.
He hasn't told me, but I thought so. I'm so glad, Nadji.
But I cannot.
Oh, Nadji. You've spent years on this work you're doing. Surely now you have a right to a life of your own.
Think of the picture in the flame. The small boat was the life of Chandu, guided by a power we could not see.
But it capsized and sank. Does that mean Roxor's going to kill him? Tell me, Nadji.
Do not be afraid. It meant that I must not marry him, or the work of his life will come to nothing. It was to remind me of what I have always known.
Do you know what I think? You've convinced yourself you'd interfere with his work if you married him. And this picture, well, it's like imagining all sorts of horrors when one's depressed. I know how easy that is.
You cannot understand. And there are things I may never tell you, nor Chandu.
Well, if I know Frank, he won't let you go on saying no.
Remember what you have seen in the blue flame.
We'll talk about it again when you're feeling more like yourself. Now I really am going, so you can get some sleep.
Do not forget, Dorothy. Ever.
I won't. Good night, Nadji. And remember, that picture might not have been for you at all. It could have been... Oh, it could have been for Robert.
Mother?
I'm here in the hall, dear.
What's the matter? Is Nadji worse?
No. What are you doing out of bed?
Well, I woke up and you weren't in bed, and I thought, why, there's Bob, too.
What gives?
Bob Regent, you haven't been to bed yet.
I was busy.
Doing what?
Never mind, Betty.
Well, don't look so dithery, Mom. Everything's under control.
Come into my room if you're going to talk, or we'll keep Nadji awake.
Well, Mom, didn't you hear what I said?
What are you being so mysterious about?
Oh, nothing.
Mother, what is it? Did our Rainier get away again?
He sure didn't. Uncle Frank said not to tell you anything about it. Or you either, Mom.
You're simply infuriating, Bob.
Dorothy. What's going on in here? Bob.
Well, I thought you might need me, so I stayed up. Did you find out who the other guy was?
Yes, it was Hamid.
Hamid? Why, he's been working for Nadji ever since he was born.
I know.
Well, maybe he was trying to keep Rainier from swiping the jewel case.
Too bad he wasn't.
Uncle Frank, if you don't tell me what's been going on, I'll simply fly apart.
Well, I'll tell you this much, and the rest can wait until morning. Rainier was going to steal those jewels of yours, and he got Hamid to help him.
But, Uncle Frank, why did...
In the morning. Now sit down, all of you. I have news.
Robert.
Why, Dot?
I know it must be. What is it?
I want you to change your mind, Dorothy, and come to Malta with me.
Here we go.
It won't do any good, Frank.
At least let him tell you about it, Mother. He said he had news.
I've telephoned the governor about a place to stay.
The governor's getting us hotel reservations now. That's really something.
Well, not quite, Betty. This time we'll have a house. And nobody will know we've come to Malta. Nobody.
Oh, I shouldn't think there'd be any houses to rent in Malta after all the ones that were wrecked in the bombings.
The governor can find one, I bet.
But I just don't want any house. I want one in particular.
Frank, what are you getting at? What difference does it make?
Well, I want that large old place next to the Church of St. Paul. Do you remember it?
Vaguely. Wasn't it all boarded up?
Yes, nobody's lived in it for years. And in spite of the shortage of living quarters since the war, still nobody will live there.
A haunted house. Oh, Mother, let's go there. We don't have to go home.
Uncle Frank will do much better without us.
He wouldn't make such a thing about it if he thought so, Mom.
Please, Dot.
Oh, but we've been through this so many times. Always on the verge of getting Robert away, and then...
But we keep getting closer to him all the time. Uncle Frank even saw him.
I can't argue about it.
I don't want you to. Everything's arranged. And if you're thinking of Roxor, none of you will have to go outside the grounds.
Well, there's a high stone wall all around the place, remember, Bob?
Sure.
And, Mother, think how you'd feel if we just landed at LaGuardia Field and there was a radiogram from Uncle Frank.
Yeah, saying, come on back, I've got it.
Oh, it won't be that way. Frank, why do you insist on this?
I can't tell you. I mean that, Dot. I don't know. But I have a feeling that this time I can't fail.
Well...
Oh, please do, Mother. What makes you act this way all of a sudden?
If you must know, it's because of something Nadji told me.
What? What did she say?
Oh, I can't go over it again now. I wish now I hadn't heard it. Well, all right.
Swell.
We'll go. But I have a terrible feeling we'll never find Robert alive.
We pause before we say good evening to suggest that you and your family listen to Chandu every weekday evening at this time. And for your family wash, we'd like to have you try the soap we make. White King Granulated Soap. If you think that a washing machine soap should make suds, plenty of rich, thick, energetic suds, then you'll love White King. For White King makes plenty of suds. Suds that stay up even when your wash water cools down. So on your radio, remember to listen to Chandu the Magician every weekday evening. And in your weekly wash, remember to use White King Granulated Soap. Nothing washes like soap. And there is no soap like White King for your washing machine. Be very sure you buy a package of White King soap tomorrow. And be very sure you save that White King box top. Because starting Monday, Chandu has an exciting magic trick offer for you. Listen Monday for full details of how you can get Chandu's Assyrian Money Changer, the mystic trick that changes pennies into dimes. Chandu the Magician is presented for your enjoyment every weekday evening. Your announcer is Howard Culver. The makers of White King invite you to listen Monday at this time when the story resumes. Chandu the Magician. This is the Mutual Don Lee Broadcasting System.